and welcome to the Movie Mouth Film and TV Podcast. It's summertime in Podland, and do we have a bumper edition of the show this week? So slide your sunglasses on, grab a cocktail, and don't forget your sunscreen as we take you through this week's new releases alongside a summer classic in our video store corner section. On this week's episode, Phil and I will be diving into the deep end and sipping on Netflix's latest action romp, Gunpowder Milkshake. And after knocking that back, we'll be sitting courtside for some basketball, in July. Yes, with Lebron, Bugs, Tweetie, Sylvester and co. in HBO Max and Warner Brothers' Space Jam: A New Legacy. Following this, we're going to go to the next level. We'll be looking to cool off by joining Scarlett, Johansson and Florence Pugh on a double date in a Siberian Gulag as we finally sit down to watch Marvel's Black Widow. Following that plethora of summertime blockbusters, we'll be taking the ferry out all the way, far, far from the city, and heading to Hampton Island as we spend a boozy and wild weekend with our deceased boss in the 1989 comedy hit Weekend at Bernie's. Woo! In our video store corner section. Boiny, boiny, boiny. As ever, we'll be bringing you the latest film news, reviews, and trailer discussions alongside some irreverent discussions on the very best of film and TV that you can watch right now. Summer romances begin for all kinds of reasons, this man said. But when all is said and done, they have one thing in common. They're shooting stars, a spectacular moment of light in the heavens, fleeting glimpses of eternity, and in a flash, they're gone. So it's not going to be easy. It's going to be really hard, and we're going to have to work at this every day, but I want to do that because I want you. I want all of you forever. You and me, every day. If you're a bird, I'm a bird, Miles. And of course, it's Phil. Hi, Phil.
Hello there.
Summer lovin', have me a blast. How's it going?
Oh, dear. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. Thanks for asking me while I was taking a swig of my drink.
You look it.
I feel great.
You look all right.
Do I?
Yeah.
I took a little trip, didn't I?
You did.
I've seen you. I saw you in person.
You saw me in person again. It's one of those special occasions.
What's weird is when Phil and I see each other in person, is we still just talk about movies as if we're on the podcast. This is just what we're like as friends.
Yeah.
So it's like no different. It's just that.
I think everyone else that we're with at that point just hates us.
No, they
right,
start
you do a podcast,
trying to give their opinion, though, don't they? They're like, "Oh, I like that film too," and you're like, "Yeah, okay, shut up. We're on the podcast."
Do you do a podcast about it? No, you don't. So just leave it.
Could I get on your podcast? No, because you don't work in the film industry. Okay, so shut your mouth.
No, honestly, listeners, we're not that much of an asshole to everyone.
Well, Phil isn't. No, but I
definitely
definitely am. When I haven't seen my friends in that long, I have to be a little bit of an arsehole. But no, I'm great, man. I'm great. It was amazing to see you. I went to the Euro final. I don't really want to talk about that. No. But I had a great time back in the UK. And I am now in sunny Barbados, hanging, chilling, surfing. A little surfing this morning. And had a jolly good old time.
Living your best life, aren't you?
I'm living my best life. Leave me alone, mother. I'm living my best life. Yes, well, I'm trying. I shall be back in New York soon.
Back in the USSA.
Hey.
USA.
Back in the USSA. So, Phil, what have you been watching this week?
Well, I've been a busy boy, Miles. So I actually, apart from podcastings, I haven't really watched much. I did watch. This will probably be mostly for the UK audience of the show, but on Sky TV, there's a new series of Rob and Romesh, which features the comedians Romesh Ranganathan and Rob Beckett, if you're familiar with them. And it's the third series in which they sort of each episode try a different thing. And this one in particular was focused on on the Olympics, because the Olympics is coming up. So they tried different Olympic sports with hilarious different results. So did tennis. Funnily enough, they had the first episode. It really made me think of you, actually, because the first sport they tried was kayaking at the London Olympic water
Lee
sports
Valley.
place that Lee Valley, where we went, and we did kayaking, and we both nearly drowned together.
We actually we did whitewater rafting, didn't we? It was my 30th birthday, I think.
It was
one of those.
Yeah, I think it was your 30th. Yeah,
I remember us both getting knocked out of the boat on the rapids and going into the water, very deep and cold water, because it's the UK.
Yeah.
And
I hit my head on the bottom.
Yeah, both rising up through the bubbles and all the maelstrom, and both hitting our heads on the bottom of the boat.
Yeah, I felt
I
like
also
a
remember you
stuntman,
pulling me into the boat at one point.
Yeah, I
Another time
rescued
that
you,
you've
didn't I?
saved- Yeah,
Plucked you out
another
of the
time you
water.
saved my life. Like, I'm starting to keep count of these things.
You remember that?
When I
would have
save
liked to
your
have seen
life,
you try
I'm-
and pull me out of the water.
100%. I wouldn't have done it.
You would not have managed.
When I save your life, you're never going to hear the end of it. You know that?
It's
Hey, Phil,
true.
do you remember that time I saved your life when we were on that whitewater rafting rubber dinghy? Phil, do you remember that time when you played a concert live on stage and some guy tried to stab you? So I just grabbed him and threw him out of the pub. No, I would never let
No,
you
that was
forget
me,
it.
Mark.
Forget it. Yeah, but that was you. So, all in all, rather not a lot of things that you watched this week.
No, sorry about
You
that.
have been busy, though. You have.
I've been busy. My house is having a lot of work done on it, and I've had to be prepping loads of stuff for that. And lots of things have been happening. So that's my
Okay.
excuse. What have you
Well, that's
been
fine.
watching,
Quite
Mr.
a
Travel
bit.
Man?
Quite a bit.
Well.
Quite a bit. I finished Loki. Glorious purpose. Probably my favorite Marvel show. Brilliant ending. Very talky ending. Very kind of sort of exposition heavy ending. But it went really well. It was great. Big shout out to Owen Wilson for his performance in this show. The amazing thing about Loki as a show is the final episode has basically set up the next whatever phases of Marvel movies. So it's amazing. It's going to be incredible. So whatever happens after that, obviously I can't discuss it because people haven't seen it yet, but it's so good. Anime. Followers of our Instagram will know that I finally got around to watching the Japanese anime movie Your Name, which had rave reviews back in 2017 when it was released in Japan. This is about a boy living in Tokyo and a girl living in rural Japan who inexplicably swap bodies every few days amidst the visit of a comet which is passing close to Earth. And this is, I have to say, I've seen a lot of, the Ghibli movies and Steam Boy and Akira and all these awesome, awesome movies. This is one of the best anime movies that I've ever seen. It's super emotional, so I love it. I love a little bit of emotion. And it has a really amazing plot twist that you won't see coming, even though I've just said that. But really, really enjoyed it. Not ashamed to admit that, as I said, I found this really emotional, and I did have a few tears.
Little
Not gonna cry.
Little blubber.
I did have a little wail here in my hotel room in Barbados. Like, but really, really good. And you can watch Your Name on Netflix in the UK or on video demand services around the world. But I really do recommend that. Also, final thing, I was on a plane, as you know, and due to this podcast, I'd seen almost everything that they had available. Everything on the list. And I thought, watch a nice film. I've seen everything. But I finally got a chance to watch Motherless Brooklyn, which was the book adaptation written and directed by and starring Edward Norton, set in 1950s New York. If you remember, it kind of looks like a kind of gangster film.
Yeah.
He's a kind of gumshoe private eye investigating the death of his boss. Really enjoyed this, Motherless Brooklyn. It was a little bit long, but it has a really great cast with Bruce Willis, Loki star Gugu Mbatha-Raw, Willem Dafoe and Alec Baldwin.
Wow, that's a good cast.
It is. It's a really good film, and music from Tom York from Radiohead as well in there. So really, really cool movie. Check that bad boy out if you haven't seen it. I highly recommend
Cool.
it. And it was great after 17 whiskeys and a meal, a slap up meal on the plane.
And some peanuts.
Yeah. Can I get some peanuts, please, to watch Mother
I'm
of
very
Brooklyn?
dry. I could do with some peanuts.
Yes, I'm very dehydrated on this aeroplane. Could I get some peanuts and alcohol, please? I say, I don't appear to be sweating anymore because all the fluids have left my body. Phil, you got some news for us?
Yeah, I do. I've got one piece of news, and I'm going to love it, and you're going to hate it.
Oh, no.
It is the news that Chris Pratt is in talks to return for a Tomorrow War sequel.
Dan is back.
Apparently.
The Return of Dan. The Tomorrow War, The Return of Dan.
So, although it's fair to say it didn't get rave reviews, apart from me.
Apart from you.
It's meant to have been quite a big success for Amazon. Because it was a big release from them. So yeah, apparently they're in talks of early talks to with Chris Pratt and director Chris McKay, returning to star in a second, because they left it sort of, I'm not spoiling anything, but it's open for other things, isn't it? There at the end, from the end of that film. So yeah, who knows what the story could be, but I'm not against it. Why not? I enjoyed the first one. But yeah, who knows who'll come back? See if J.K. Simmons could come back. I don't know. Who knows? So yeah, I'm excited about that.
Well, I'm glad you are. So
on with your news.
Do I have news? Nope.
I don't know. No news for you.
No, Phil. It's Nope.
Oh.
The new movie from Jordan Peele, director of Us and Get Out.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, this one was just announced a couple of days ago with a really intriguing poster that he tweeted. So obviously Jordan Peele, the absolute legend behind Get Out and Us, which were both amazing films. There's no real information about this other than on the poster, we see a kind of small town which has an ominous cloud lurking above it, and the cloud appears to have some kind of bunting or kite's tail hanging out of it, if that makes sense. That kind of
I know
bunting
what you mean,
style thing. Yeah. That's literally all we know about it, other than it's also starring Get Out alum and Oscar winner Daniel Kaluuya, who we love, Keke Palmer, and Walking Dead star Stephen Yeun. Nothing else is known about this, but it's bound to be an intriguing slice of horror, suspense, and will follow, no doubt, in the footsteps of his massively successful other films. And it will be released 1 year from this week, globally, on July 22nd of 2022.
2022.
Dwayne Johnson news klaxon. Is that the news klaxon? I don't know, it sounds like it should be. The artist formerly known as Rock has just announced he won't be returning to the Fast 10 or Fast 11 movies, and probably not even the franchise. It all comes, it seems, off the back of this candy-ass saga that erupted back behind the scenes of Fast and Furious 8, where there was a bit of an issue, shall we say, between Johnson, who tweeted something on social media condemning the behavior of Vin Diesel on set. Apparently the two do not like each other. So 2 years or so ago, apparently they both were kind of reaching out and trying to make peace and blah, blah, blah. Diesel then gave an interview claiming the tough love he gave on the Fast set was all about getting better performances out of people. Obviously Johnson disagreed. But that appears to have been blown out. And in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter this week, Dwayne Johnson responded saying that he laughed and laughed hard when he read Vin Diesel's interview, and that he thinks everyone had a laugh at that, and he'll leave it at that, and that I've wished them well. I wish them all well on Fast 9, and I wish the best of luck on Fast 10 and Fast 11 and the rest of the Fast and Furious movies they do that will all be without me.
Ooh.
So it's a real shame, because I think his Hobbs character from Fast 5 onwards was brilliant. One of the best additions to the cast, I think. One of the best things they've done with that franchise. But it is likely that it could be another Hobbs and Shaw spin-off movie with him and his burly, baldy buddy, Jason Statham. But that's yet to be... Burly, baldy buddy. But that's yet to
burly, baldy buddy.
Hello, Jason.
Burly, baldy buddy.
Dwayne and Jason. Burly body bodies, burly body bodies.
That's what it should be called. Hobbs and Shaw. Burly bodies.
So yet to be announced, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with it. And I don't know. Maybe they can just, him and Vin Diesel can just rub their bald heads together one day and make peace.
Okay. And then Jason Statham can come along and they can run around in the circle.
Just
singing Burly Body Gang. I'd watch that film.
Speaking of films that
shit.
you'd like to watch, what trailers have you seen this week, Philip?
Oh, well, I've seen a couple of crackers. Well, one more than the other. But...
seen a couple of crackers. Well, one. Well, actually, half of one. Well, actually, I've eaten all the crackers.
So the first one is The Last Duel, which I don't know if you've seen this, but this is Ridley Scott back on full feature directing duties for the first time since 2017's All the Money in the World and Alien Covenant. Yep. So yeah, this is starring Jodie Comer, Matt Damon, Adam Driver, and Ben Affleck. And it's adapted from the book The Last Duel, A Story of Trial by Combat in Medieval France by Eric Jaeger.
We've all been there. We've all had epic combat in medieval France, haven't we?
Who hasn't? And it tells the real life story of a 14th century duel between a French knight and his squire after the former accuses the latter of raping his wife. So nasty subject matter, but based on a true story. Screenplays by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and Helen Holofcener. It looks like it could be really good. It's, you know me, I love a medieval film, don't I?
Oh, you do. You love anything medieval. Mead.
I love it.
Bow and arrows.
Yep. Yeah, all of it.
Swords and sorcery.
Everything. And it does look pretty epic. It looks very Ridley-esque, quite epic. Plus, you do get to see Matt Damon sporting one hell of a mullet.
It's one hell of a big old blonde mullet that he's got.
Such a good mullet.
He looks like Joe Dirt, doesn't he?
Yeah, he really does. With a scar. Yeah,
I request a duel to the death. Hot dog.
I'm looking forward to it. So that's out on October 15th. So that's exciting.
What I liked about that, I liked Ben Affleck in that. His English accent does sound bad, doesn't it? Yeah. Ben Affleck is I don't know. It's just this thing where he's like, if you lose, your wife will suffer dire consequences.
And he's got a proper dyed blonde bowl cut, hasn't he? Like one of those horrible medieval bowl cuts.
Yeah. Someone get the basin for Ben, will you? Big baldy buddy. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. It looks good. Yep. It's Ridley Scott, so
we'll see. We'll see. Do you remember that
and
one?
Then the second one,
the one about the Exodus. Do you remember Exodus with Christian Bale and Joel Edgerton?
I didn't see that.
The one in ancient Egypt. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God! Yeah, that was him as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Let's gloss over that one. Next one, No Man of God. So after 2019's Zac Efron starring Bundy-based, catchy named film, extremely wicked, shockingly evil and vile, we now have Luke Kirby playing the death row serial killer Ted Bundy, who develops a strange and complicated relationship with FBI agent Bill Hagmaier, played by Elijah Wood, while detailing his heinous crimes in interviews. So it looks like it could be good. But it also looks like, it's nothing I haven't seen before. It's those sort of like, it's either FBI agent or someone from the press interviewing a serial killer sort of drama type thing and getting sucked in by the serial killer and all that. But it does look good. And that's coming out on August 27th. But I think the best thing about it was one of the comments, which was just like a complete nerd reference, because obviously there's a lot of, unfortunately, poor Elijah Wood just can't get away from being Frodo, can he, in anything? And one of the comments was, it's like, it just said, Ted Bundy, I won't tell you anything, It just says Elijah were, all right, then keep your secrets.
Oh my God.
It's complete nerdery.
Nerd alert.
It really made,
Nerd
it
alert.
really made me laugh.
I think what they should really do is they should get Dwayne Johnson and Vin Diesel both playing Ted Bundy and call it Big Baldy Bundys.
Big Baldy Bundy Buddies.
Big Baldy Bundy Buddies. And then just have them headbutt each other for 4 hours. The director's cut as well is 5 hours.
Yes.
And by the end, they just look at the camera and they go, and that's Bundy. Point right down
Bundy.
And then the credits roll.
I'd watch that. I'd definitely watch that.
Sign me up.
Yeah. That's my trailers.
That sounds cool. I enjoyed that Efron movie. I did enjoy the Efron
I didn't
movie.
see it, but I heard it was all right.
Yeah, he was good in that. It was creepy. But no, that was cool. I didn't see that one, actually. I'll need to check that trailer out. I watched... my goodness me, it was a heck of a week, wasn't it, for trailers? The new Dune trailer, the second trailer, which actually shows a lot of action, finally, was amazing. Really, really good. Obviously, this is Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 1, which is the first part of the first book written by Frank Herbert. This is starring, it's got such a good cast. You've got Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Oscar Isaac, Josh Brolin, Rebecca Ferguson, Javier Bardem, Stellan Skarsgård, Dave Bautista, and Jason Momoa. This, to me, like, you're more of a fantasy guy. I'm more of a sci-fi guy, I would say. I know you like Star Wars, but I'm more of a Trek guy. I'm more of like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think this looks awesome. I'm so excited about this film. Sci-fi event of the year. DOP Greg Fraser, obviously coming onto this. He's done some great stuff. I think Killing Him Softly was one of the best cinematography I've seen in a film in a long time. I loved it when that film came out. Obviously Zero Dark 30 and so on. Soundtrack, Hans Zimmer.
Zimmer.
Know,
Zimmer, isn't it? Then obviously it's going to be good.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But, I mean, like, the only thing I'm afraid of about this movie is it's part 1 of the book. And I already want part 2. So we'll have to wait and see. The big problem with that is when it's released in October is that it's going to also be on HBO Max. So obviously we need the viewership figures in theaters. So just from me to our listeners, to any of you out there, make sure you go see this in the cinema, in the movie theater, and watch it, because I want to see part 2. And speaking of Denis Villeneuve, another trailer dropped this week, and this is actually around the Blade Runner 2049 universe that he extended beyond, funnily enough, Ridley Scott. It's all coming together. So for fans of that movie, like me, Blade Runner 2049, a film which massively underperformed at the box office, again, another Warner's movie, who then cancelled any follow-ups and so on, a glimmer of hope. Upon the distance, look to the east when the sun rises. And this basically is a movie that was more it's actually a series. So it's an anime sci-fi series, which is also CGI. So kind of like, it looks a bit like Clone Wars. If you ever saw the Star Wars Clone Wars shows, called Black Lotus. The story focuses on Elle, who's voiced by Jessica Henwick, a female replicant created for mysterious purposes, set in 2032 Los Angeles. And the show follows Elle as she discovers new details about herself, which include being an expert at fighting with a katana and uncovering conspiracies. This also has Will Yun Lee and Brian Cox, who I discovered when I have a cold and I try and do a Sean Connery impression, I actually sound like Brian Cox, not like Sean Connery. Anyway, aside there. Who are also in the cast. Black Lotus is directed by Shinji Aramaki and Kenji Kamiyama, and it'll premiere this autumn in the States on Adult Swim and Crunchyroll, which I have no idea what that is. It's getting crazy with all these streaming platforms now. But
sounds like a bloody eating product.
Would you like a Crunchyroll, son?
I'll have a Crunchyroll.
Have a Crunchyroll, boy. There's no word yet on the UK release date, but I would imagine it will be out sometime in September, October. Okay. It's pretty cool, though.
Cool, yeah, I'll check that out. Right place for now.
Check it out.
I will.
Oh, you better do. All right.
I will.
Let's jump into the movie reviews. Phil, get us started off.
Righto. I shall do that for you.
Would you like to do that?
So, I sat down to watch the new Netflix in the US and action flick from director Navo Papuchado. Let me give you, this is Gunpowder Milkshake. Sorry, I didn't mention that, did I?
Gunpowder Milkshake, oh! Gunpowder Milkshake, oh!
Let me give you some background on the plot. So, Sam, played by Karen Gillan, was only 12 years old when her mother, Scarlett, played by Lena Headey, an elite assassin, was forced to abandon her. Oh. Sam was raised by The Firm, the ruthless crime syndicate her mother worked for. Now, 15 years later, Sam has followed in her mother's footsteps and grown into a fierce hitwoman. She uses her talents to clean up the firm's most dangerous messes. She's an efficient and loyal assassin, but when a high-risk job goes wrong, Sam must choose between serving the firm and protecting the life of an innocent 8-year-old girl. Sounds like it could be fun, right? Wrong.
Yes. Oh!
Absolutely wrong.
You pulled that right
Miles,
from under me, didn't you? You passed me that gunpowder milkshake, and then you just poured it over my head.
I swept it away. I did not enjoy this film. In fact, it's easily one of the worst films I've seen in the last couple of years. And that must be shocking for you, because you know that I am normally a right sucker for a crappy action film.
No, I was going to say I might give it a go.
Well, I want you to, in a way, because I want you to see if you think it's what it is. But anyway, firstly, it feels like a comic book film, but it's not based on a comic book. I did check. It just feels like it wants to be. You know, they're just putting characters into costumes that feel like they want you to then turn it into a cosplay, you know, like it's like, you know, I want people to dress up at a convention as that character. Visually, I liked a lot of it. It looks stylish and really vibrant. It's got a sort of like neon-soaked futuristic feel, but then it's got like 50s cars and then modern cars. And there's this odd feeling to the whole thing where it's set in like a huge city. It doesn't say where, I don't think, but the roads, all the roads you see are like empty, and every scene seems to be like desolate, and there's no other humans in it. It just seems like it's just the actors, but there's like no background artists, if you know what I mean. It's just really weird. Like they pull up, you know, at a place and there's no one there. There's no traffic. There's no other people in the place. Just the people that need to be in the scene. So it's obviously intentional, but it's just a bit weird. And it just doesn't gel for me. But it does. Some of the scenes are visually good, and they do look like it's really, as I said, like vibrant colors and looks good. But the main problems for me, though, lie in the terrible dialogue. It's just horrifically non-interesting and contrived.
Wow.
The fight scenes look pretty bad, I think, albeit apart from a very sort of cool action sequence towards the end, which I really like. They're cut together and filmed really well, but they just don't make me believe that Sam, Karen Gillan, can actually fight. It's just a bit, you know, when you're watching like John Wick, at least you think, yeah, I bet Keanu Reeves could actually kick my ass and look stylish doing it. And there's also like loads of unnecessary wire work on the stunt performers as well. Like, you know, she throws a kick or a punch and they get pulled in like a really unnatural angle, like to the way that the kick was thrown. You know, it was just a bit...
Sounds a bit amateur.
Yeah. I mean, there's some good stunts in it and stuff. There's some cool like CGI gore. And it's pretty violent. But it's just, yeah, I think it just... There's also a really unnecessary use of slow motion where it just isn't needed as well. Like scenes where characters are walking around the corner and it's just done in slow motion. It's like, why? It's like watching a better looking episode of the A-Team. It's really weird. The whole thing, yeah, it's just a bit devoid of life. And it's also too, I would say, too long. It felt like it dragged on a bit because it is, how long is it? It's like nearly 2 hours, an hour and 54. But it probably could have done with being about half an hour or 20 minutes shorter. And then it's shocking because the cast, it's, you know, the cast-wise, it's full of promise. You've got the MCU's Karen Gillan, you've got Game of Thrones' Lena Headey, you've got Paul Giamatti, as well as action legend Michelle Yeoh. So, but they're just being fed a dog shit dialogue that's as dry as a Bonio biscuit. it's just really bad. Don't get me wrong, it's pretty satisfying to see like a predominantly female cast kicking ass, and but it's just all a bit boring, if I'm honest. It's so rarely, for me, it's not a recommendation on this one.
Wowzers.
That if, however, you do want to give it a go and you don't give a crap what I say, which is fully understandable, you can catch Gunpowder Milkshake right now if you're in the US on Netflix, but UK viewers need to wait until the 17th of September, where it's getting a cinema and Sky Cinema on demand simultaneous release. So yeah, it's a rare non-recommendation from me.
That is a rare one. Goodness me. Almost, like I said, I almost want to watch it now.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of seeing it, just kind of see how bad this wire work is.
Yeah, please do. I want you to watch it.
Okay, I'm gonna. Right.
Good.
Well,
good.
So that's Gunpowder Milkshake, which doesn't get a recommendation from us.
No,
sorry. Gunpowder shit shake.
Can you bring us back up? Oh dear.
I will actually. I will kind of.
Okay. Sort of.
In a different way. We're going to up in a different way. Yes, it's that time again where we review yet another Marvel release. This time, it's the long overdue return of Scarlett Johansson's Avenger, Natasha Romanoff, in Black Widow, where she confronts the darker parts of her ledger when a dangerous conspiracy with ties to her past arise. Pursued by a force that will stop at nothing to bring her down, Natasha must deal with her history as a spy and the broken relationship left in her wake before she became an Avenger. Ooh. This is set in a time before Endgame, and for those who haven't seen it, Phil, I won't spoil it, but there is obvious reasons for that. A film which I was not only looking forward to, but totally baffled that Marvel had yet to make this film, instead opting for the lesser-known character rollouts of Captain Marvel and Doctor Strange and Ant-Man and so on, which I found really weird, because I think she was a great character and kicked ass, as you said.
Yeah.
This film is directed by Kate Shortland, who to date has delivered some incredibly urgent and well-played-out indie movies starring strong female leads. Likewise, it's also written by a plethora of individuals, but mainly by Jack Schaefer, who those of you who are interested will know did such a great job on the writing and show running for the WandaVision TV series on Disney+, which was a really complex, interesting show. This movie has been critically acclaimed almost across the board. However, audiences seem a little bit negative towards it. So what could go wrong? Well, as it turns out, quite a lot. Again, I have to restate how much I wanted this movie ever since Johansson made her debut back in Iron Man 2. And Phil, as you were saying earlier about women kicking ass, that's what I wanted. I wanted to see that. And you do see that in this movie. However, the problem here lies in this almost formulaic script or plot that these kind of type B Marvel movies are becoming. We get the usual mistake of building its films, of Marvel building their films around a very weak plot, which in moments of dragging just decides to throw everything possible at the screen, even so far as introducing a villain who can replicate all of the moves and skills of the Avengers. But honestly, it just felt like kind of been there, done that. Like I've seen all these moves, and they didn't really play up to that. You had a character that can use a shield, you had a character that can use a bow and arrow and whatever else.
Well, the character can replicate the moves of all of the Avengers.
Pretty much, yeah.
So surely, undefeatable.
Exactly, but totally weak and really not that detailed, not played out. Should have been a massive threat and was kind of just a very weak villain. It also made the mistake of so many other Marvel movies, which worked really well in Phase 1 and Phase 2. But now here at the start of Phase 4, we're so done with the floating base or thing being attacked in the sky and our heroes fighting the villain high up in the clouds. We've seen this so many times at the end of almost every Phase 1 and Phase 2 movie, even going so far in Avengers Age of Ultron, where they levitate a giant city and they have a fight. It's boggles my mind why every Marvel movie seems to end in this fashion. Time's run out on this plot dynamic, Kevin Feige. It's been done. Time to move on. Let's do something new. So, also for a film starring such charismatic performers, so including the amazing, Hopper from Stranger Things, David Harbour is in this. Florence Pugh, who's brilliant, and Ray Winston. The humor was so forced. Not even there's this moment where Florence Pugh, you've probably seen it in the trailer. It's been shown a lot in a lot of the VTs that they run when these guys are on chat shows and things. Florence Pugh mocks Scarlett Johansson for being such a poser when fighting, and you're such a poser, you do this, you do that, blah 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 blah. It feels so forced though. It's like nudge nudge wink wink, like, we know the characters, and when she jumps down and she does the splits and blah blah blah, I'm going to mock that. It's just such a low common denominator. And I mean, we are going to talk about Weekend at Bernie's and all of the slapstick in that later, so it does get lower. However, it just, honestly, I just felt like it was just trying too hard. So, Marvel, are you listening? Can I also remind you that Black Widow is not a serum-enhanced super soldier like Captain America or the Winter Soldier. She is mortal. She's flesh and blood. She doesn't have super strength, and she can be killed very easily. So why is it that she's falling off 10-story buildings and hitting everything on the way down, like scaffolding and surviving, and not even limping off? She's absolutely fine. Just jumps up. You don't really see this in other Marvel films. Usually the more human characters that are vulnerable. So it was really weird to see this with these non-super soldier characters. What I really wanted was a fresh take that took Natasha in her own direction. What this felt like was an almost afterthought. Like, let's give Black Widow her own movie, but not really push the boundaries of the character. A move which, for me, left me feeling left out in the Siberian cold. The tagline to this movie reads, "She's done running from her past," but for me, she should have been running into the future with a bolder, braver, and less Marvel cliche checklist of a movie. Marvel needs to badly reinvent its written-by-numbers B-team movies, such as this, Ant-Man, Captain Marvel, and the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show. And so gladly, or sadly, I should say, in a first for the Movie Mouth podcast, this is a Marvel property which gets a miss from us.
Oh, no. 2 misses.
Black Widow is available in theaters and on Disney Plus Premium now. Well, okay, that's 2 out of 3. Should we go to the third one? How are you feeling?
Yeah, let's do it.
Is everybody out there okay?
Positive. I feel
Okay.
positive.
It's summertime. I hope you're laying somewhere nice, listening to us, thinking, what a wonderful pair of gentlemen talking about films. Right, okay, let's go to Space Jam: A New Legacy. 25 long years after Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny saved the known universe in the original Space Jam, here we finally have the sequel. Yes! Out goes the old psychotic, psychopathic, and competitively minded sports star, and in comes new NBA legend and divisive player, LeBron James. Directed by Malcolm D. Lee, this updated take on the original sees LeBron at odds with his young son's stance on preferring to play video games over basketball, something I also did. Don't worry about it, kids. Play games. A lesson which may or may not set the two of them on a collision course on the court. The crux being Al G. Rhythm, played by a very game Don Cheadle, here having a lot of fun as a villain who manipulates LeBron Jr. into creating a basketball tournament for the ages. Meanwhile, LeBron must recruit a team to play for his and all of our lives. So, of course, he chooses a cartoon rabbit, a cat, small bird, a rooster, and an old woman. This has... why wouldn't you? This is a lot of in-jokes for movie fans. It's actually gravitates away more from the Looney Tunes properties and goes into the kind of rest of the Warner Brothers kind of back catalogue, weirdly. Almost creating a kind of Warner Brothers shared universe. There are scenes in this involving The Matrix, Mad Max, Casablanca, The Iron Giant, Harry Potter, Superman, Batman, and many, many more.
Wow.
Almost going through these movies. Not a spoiler, but almost as they go into the Looney Tunes universe, they also go into these other universes. And these parts were a lot of fun for me as an adult watching this film. I took a lot out of this.
Yeah.
It feels kind of weird, but it worked. And for those movie fans out there, take a look at the crowd during the basketball game. You'll spot dozens of really well-known characters. My favorite one being, I think, possibly It from the It movies, who's in the crowd during a children's film.
Weird.
Yes. Admittedly, for a man who is single, has no children, and is 37 this week, yikes! This movie is not made for me, and I would at no point ever assume it to be. Not easy for someone our age to review a film like this. However, I did really enjoy this. And this has got a really low rating on Rotten Tomatoes, on IMDb. I think, though, it was in part due to watching this with Alfie and George, the two sons of one of my closest friends. Sitting down and watching the film in that kind of environment with kids meant I had no cynicism watching it. And I just enjoyed it for what it was. You know, we were there was a kind of rap scene, and we were all rapping along and dancing, and that's what it should be. That's what this film should be.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What I will do, though, is I'll leave my conclusion to a young film fan who I watched this film with. Yes, it's 10-year-old George Smith from Cheshunt in the UK, who said, and I'm just going to quote exactly what he told me at the end of the film. His favorite part of the film was when one of LeBron's sons got hit in the face with a basketball. His favorite character was Gossamer, the big, hairy, red carpet-looking dude. And George would like to recommend this film to any boys and girls who like basketball or fun films that make you laugh. And so with that in mind, this gets a recommendation from George and from us at the Movie Mouth podcast. Thanks, George.
Nice one, George.
Good
awesome.
lad.
You've brought up what is otherwise a very depressing episode. Well done.
Phil?
Yes?
It's time for this! Oh, hello there. Hi.
Hi.
I'm looking for a film.
Yeah? You want to elaborate?
Well, it's summertime outside, and I feel like I need something that's going to, give me a nice weekend away from reality. Maybe something starring a lot of people that you've never heard of would be great. Preferably something that involves a dead man playing Monopoly and being basically abused for the majority of the film. Have you got anything like that?
Do you know what?
What?
You're not going to believe this. Right.
Go on.
But this film.
Don't start.
No, look, take this. This is a film from 1989. As you said, it stars a lot of people you haven't heard of.
Mm-hmm. But
it's exactly what you're asking for. This is called Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, it's Weekend at Bernie's! How long have I gone on about this film?
Oh, God. Forever. Forever. I think you probably mentioned it the first day I ever met you.
I think I probably did.
I probably said, hi, my name's Phil. And you probably went, have you seen Weekend at Bernie?
Yeah. My name's Miles, by the way. I think I probably did. Yes.
Yeah.
It's the 1989 comedy classic, Weekend at Bernie's, directed by Ted Kotcheff, who, of course, directed the first Rambo movie, First Blood.
Yes, he did.
Poor man. This is a film about two, basically, company employees that work weekends in New York City, Larry and Richard, who are working overtime when they discover a nefarious scandal within the reporting system of the company and decide to take it to Bernie Lomax, their erstwhile boss, the titular Bernie of the Weekend at. Bernie, in hearing this information, essentially decides to invite them out to his weekend retreat in the Hamptons, on Hampton Island, so that they can come out and party and benefit and talk through the numbers and all that kind of thing. But no, we find out that Bernie is actually the one responsible for this squirreling away of money and burying debts. He's a bastard. And instead, his plot isn't to party with Larry and Richard. It's to kill them in a double suicide murder in his house during a party.
That's right.
Ultimately, what occurs is Bernie eventually being killed himself due to the fact that the mob believe that he's gotten, a little bit weak, a little bit soft. Bit risky. And also is sleeping with the mob boss's wife. So they have him killed.
They do.
So where's the comedy in this film, I hear you ask?
Well,
the comedy lies in the fact that Larry and Richard are psychotic, and they decide to, when discovering Bernie's dead body in his house, rather than going to the police, they decide to pretend that he's still alive and manipulate his corpse during the party and across the Hamptons so that they can have more fun for the weekend and meet girls and get drunk, basically. And that's the plot of the movie. So why is this the greatest comedy of all time, Phil?
You know what? I'm not going to say it's the greatest comedy of all time, but I bloody love this film.
Do you love it?
I've seen it. I absolutely love this film. I've seen it before, and I sat down today. I watched it today, and I sat down with Carly, my wife, and we sat just crying with laughter at this film. Even though we've both seen it before, just because it is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
This film.
Yeah.
But there's so many just absolutely comedy gold moments with, mainly just because of the ridiculous situation of a dead guy appearing on screen in hilarious ways. And I loved it.
Oh.
It's just a funny film to watch. It's just a classic for me. I say 80s classic. It was 89, so you go late 80s. But
yeah, it was made in the 80s. Yeah.
Oh my god, there's just some perfect comedy moments in this for me.
What would you say is your favorite comedy moment? What made you and your wife laugh the most?
I think, one of the rare non-Bernie moments I really liked was the when Richard, one of the characters, brings a love interest, Gwen, back to his apartment, and he's pretending he's trying to convince her that he's not, when he clearly is just living with his parents. So that he walks in and he's like, oh god, my parents are gonna hear, and he's turning the lights on and shutting the doors really quietly. She's like, why are you whispering? He's like, no, don't worry about it, it's fine. My neighbors are really sensitive, And then I just love the scene in this where they start kissing each other in the living room, and what's clearly his dad walks out from the bedroom in just his pants, funnily enough played by Richard Kochev, the director. Sorry, Ted Kochev, the director. And he comes out, walks to the fridge and gets a drink, and she spots him. She's like, there's a guy over there. And the dad, his dad goes, oh, sorry. He sees them, he sort of sees them. He goes, oh, sorry, I didn't realize you had company, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And Richard goes,
good night, Richard, young lady.
Richard goes, that, because then he says, oh yeah, he's my, don't worry, just ignore him. It's my butler, right?
But it's
and
really
the dad goes, so sorry, I didn't realize you had company. And then Richard goes, that's all right, Monroe. Would you please just go and lay out my navy blue suit for the morning? The dad just looks at him and just gives him this look and just goes, how about if I lay you out? And Richard just goes, very well. And it's just fucking brilliant because it's basically what my dad would say to me if he found me in the same situation. It's if I suddenly pretending that he was my butler, he'd just look at me and be like, no, shut up.
So good.
So I love that scene, but as a non-Bernie scene. But then I think the ultimate super funny scenes for me are just the ridiculous situations that Bernie gets, thrown into, quite literally. I think one of the main ones is when he gets sort of, Larry slips him off the deck, and there's the mafia guy that's come back to kill him again, because everyone thinks he's still alive even though he has been dead. So he comes back, he's like, oh god, I thought I killed him. And he's snooping under the house, and then suddenly Bernie just like falls down like, on top of him, like with a cigarette in his mouth that they put in his mouth, and then he starts screaming and then strangling him and shaking him.
But he goes. Paulie's so pissed off that he's had to come back to the island to kill Bernie again because he's been spotted again, and Bernie drops down with a cigarette and glasses, and he goes, you son of a bitch, you son of a bitch, and he starts strangling him.
He starts shaking him back and forth.
He's already dead. Yeah.
And he's got this cigarette hanging out of his mouth. It's just brilliant. It's just stupid slapstick, isn't it?
I think all those scenes with Paulie and Bernie are great. Like Paulie, the mafioso that's come to kill him, that's just so stressed out, and like every time he hears Bernie's still alive, because the boys are obviously pretending he's still alive, and people are saying, "Oh, Bernie's just sitting out on a sun lounger waving at people when his hand's actually a pulley system."
Yeah, waving. Like a rope.
Yeah. Another pina colada, Bernie? Psychotic. I will say I really liked the moment that they discovered the voicemail. What they used to call it? Tape machine.
Tape machine, yeah. Yeah.
And they hear Bernie
answering machine.
Yeah, they hear Bernie speaking to the mafia hitman, plotting to kill them when they come out, and they finally realize that Bernie was going to kill him, and then they find the fake suicide note that Bernie had written for them, and it's like it's basically Larry saying that Richard wasn't in love with him, and he's going to leave him, and therefore he's going to kill him in order to because he was going to go through with a sex change operation or that kind of thing. Yeah. And he's just like, I can't remember exactly what the line is, but it's like I don't know if I'm mad that Bernie was going to kill me, or no, he's like, son of a bitch, if it was bad enough he was going to kill me, now he's trying to turn me into a drag queen.
Yeah, that was it. He's like, why have I got to have the sex change? Why didn't he think that about you?
Yeah.
He's like, no one's actually getting a sex change. Yeah.
And then I think with Bernie, there's some great, as you say, some great slapstick scenes. I love the scene when he washes up on the beach when Richard's kissing
when they're like
Gwen.
kissing on the beach, and he just
really
slides into shot, with the wave with the tide as the coast comes. Yeah, as the water comes in, he just slides into shot, just staring at him with his dead eyes, and just slides away again.
He does. Just going back to that scene with Paulie when he drops down and Paulie starts strangling him. For me, the best part about that is all of the accoutrement that you mentioned, the sunglasses, and all that. But it's also the organ music that plays. It's like while he's strangling him. Son of a bitch. Like an action scene organ.
Yeah. Oh God.
I also love how like everyone just assumes that Bernie's alive when he's clearly dead. He's just laying on his couch.
It's like no one's concerned for him at all.
His eyes are open. Everyone's drunk.
Party with hundreds of people.
Everyone's drunk. Everybody's day drunk. They're all day drunk, and everyone's just coming up to him like, "Hey Bernie, can I buy your car? Like 30,000. I'll give you 30,000." And someone knocks his head, and his head nods or his head shakes.
Like, you're a tough negotiator, Bernie.
You're a tough negotiator, aren't you, Bernie? Shakes his head left and right. Also, love the scene when the mafia boss's wife goes out to see him. Bernie, where are you, Bernie? And goes upstairs and somehow has sex with Bernie.
I found this scene very odd.
And he says, she comes down. She's like, oop-de-doo, boop-de-boop-de-boo, whoop-de-woo. Like she's actually so happy. Yeah, lights a cigarette and has a whiskey. And Larry, I think Larry's got all the lines in this, but Larry's like, he's like, son of a bitch. He's like, how does that guy get laid more than I do dead than I do alive?
Yeah, I know.
That's brilliant.
It's like, how did that happen?
Also, the water skiing scene. They decide to take Bernie's boat out to get back to the mainland with Bernie with them. I don't know why they took Bernie. Why did they take Bernie with them?
I don't know. They just could have got out of there. I'm not really sure about that.
This is following.
Because it was at the point where they thought that if they were with Bernie, they wouldn't get
killed. It's like a human shield.
It was like before they found out about the plot sort of thing. Yeah, it's like a human shield. Yeah.
Where they go out on the boat, and Bernie's tied to the back of the boat, rather than just, so he looks like he's sitting up. And obviously the boat hits some waves, the speedboat hits some waves, and he goes flying over the back, and he's basically water skiing, isn't he, on the back? But
he's just like a ragdoll.
He's a ragdoll. He's face down in the water, getting pulled by a rope around his waist by a speedboat, clearly not alive, clearly in a lot of trouble. And it just cuts to all the other boats, and inexplicably everybody on Hampton Island seems to know Bernie and seems to be able to spot him from any distance, no matter what he's doing. And as he's being just dragged through the water face down, you just hear people calling out, "Hey, Bernie!" or "Cooling off, hey, Bernie!" or like, "I'll see you at the party later, Bernie!" Doesn't it? Like the whole
he's
thing
just ragdolling violently in the water.
Yeah. And then they kind of, Larry and Richard pull him into the back of the boat when they realise. And as he pull him up, Larry freaks out. He's like, "Oh!" And like Richard's like, "Whoa, what's up? What's up?" He's like, "Son of a bitch, he lost my sunglasses."
Yeah. I also
he wears sunglasses his whole film, doesn't he?
The whole film, yeah. But what I do love is when they're trying to stop the boat, just another little bit from that, when they're trying to stop the boat, he's like, "Boats don't have brakes." And he's like, "How do you stop it?" He's like, "Throw the anchor." And he picks up the anchor and just lobs it. And he just lobs it into another person's boat through their table.
"What you're doing is illegal, young man. What you're doing."
That guy's table.
Yeah.
It's just little bits like that I like.
No, I've always loved this movie. Have you seen the sequel?
No, but I've seen the trailer. Out of interest again, I think because I've heard really, really bad things about the sequel, like because it actually features Bernie again, doesn't it? And he gets
Terry Kaiser himself.
They put him in like a suitcase and take him abroad, and then he gets like.
If you didn't already think they were psychopaths, wait until they put him in a suitcase and take him to the Bahamas or wherever it is.
Keep him in a fridge. And then he gets voodoo done on him and sort of slightly comes back alive. It's very odd looking trailer. I sort of want to see it now, but I also don't. At the same time, I think one of the comments again that I saw on that trailer was a film so bad that it's good.
Weekend of Bernie's 2.
Yeah. Have you seen it? Have you watched
it? Terrible. It's terrible.
Oh, right. Okay.
It came out in 1993. It came out 4 years after this.
Yeah.
There's just nothing funny about it. It features a scene where, and maybe we could do this on a video store, I don't know. But it features a scene where Bernie gets some voodoo magic done to him and is able to walk and dance around the resort that he's staying in.
Of course.
And he's like all kind of wobbly and like loose and his eyes are open. Bernie's like eyes, dead eyes.
His weird eyes. He's got like a weird... But do you know what's great though, right? Because I thought this at the time. I was like, one, he does Terry Kaiser as Bernie. I think does a fantastic job of like staying dead. Like, do you know what I mean? He does a great job at sort of just flopping about, keeping his eyes open, sort of not flinching. There's only like one scene where I saw him blink.
Really? I didn't notice that.
There's a little blink when they take him. They're trying to get him onto the ferry. And as they turn him round, he like blinks. But like other than that, he's great in it as that. I mean, can you imagine like his agent trying to sell him this film? They're like, "Yeah, so Terry, we want you to be in this film, and you're going to play this like ruthless businessman, and you hire some mafia guys. But for most of the film, like after the first like 20 minutes, you're going to be dead, but you're going to be in the entire film as the main character." Like, what?
You're the title character of the film. You are,
but you're dead for
Bernie.
most of it.
Yeah. Are you any good at playing? You can imagine his agent calling and be like, "Yeah, Terry. Yeah, it's your agent. Oh yeah. Hey, how are you? Yeah, good. Got some great news. What? Weekend at Bernie's. Never heard of it. You're Bernie. Can you play dead? So, what? If we stapled a wig to your head, would you flinch? No. If we got a vacuum cleaner and sucked sand off of your mustache, would you move? No, I could do that. I could definitely do that. You got the gig.
Yeah,
got the gig.
Sold. Done.
What if we tied your feet to the feet of two young actors and then made them run along a boardwalk for 100 meters? Yeah. Could you do that? Yes, I could.
I mean, he does a great job, though. And the best thing
is... He's a complete bastard. At the beginning of the film, he's a complete bastard, and you hate him for what he's going to do to the boys. And he's just arrogant, whatever.
Yeah.
Dead, he's a great... I love him. Like, I love
rogue.
him. You know, he's a lovable rogue. Yeah, like somehow he imbues the character with that lovable roguishness when he's dead. Yeah. He's not even saying anything. He's just
because
smirking.
He's got like a weird smirk. Yeah, he's got like one eyebrow up and a smirk all the time, and his eyes open behind his sunglasses. It's really weird. But
it sometimes changes. His expression also sometimes changes depending on the mood.
Yeah, it does.
After he's had sex, he's like. Also,
smirking.
I think this has got one of the best end scenes to any
my
movie
god! I was
ever.
just about to say that. We were crying when it happened again today, and because I sort of forgot about it. Carly lost it. Like honestly, she was crying for about 5 minutes after.
So basically, the paramedics finally turn up. Someone finally realizes that Bernie's dead, and after being poisoned, strangled, and shot and drowned, because let's face it, he's also he's on a gurney. We see him like on a stretcher on a gurney being wheeled into a thing, and Paulie, who's there, who's killed him now 3 times, is convinced he's still alive. And as Paulie walks out of the house, he sees Bernie on the stretcher, and for no apparent reason, the paramedics have left him with his arm up over behind his head.
Behind his head.
It looks like he's relaxing on the stretcher.
Smirking at him.
Yeah, smirking at him. He's like, he's alive. That son of a bitch, he's still alive. He's alive. Look at him. Look at him.
He's in a straitjacket at that point.
He's in a straitjacket.
They've
said, right, we've had a murder at Bernie's house. Can you just bring someone with a straitjacket, please?
They've already committed him to an asylum.
Yeah, he's already been committed. Don't bother with the handcuffs. Bring the straitjacket now. He's going straight into the Hampton Island insane asylum. So Bernie's on the gurney. Bernie on the gurney. The ambulance driver is sitting there. He reverses up to the boardwalk where Bernie's body is waiting and no one's waiting with it. And these 2 women come up and go, oh, hey, what happened? Bernie Lomax got killed. Like, oh, no way. And as they're having this conversation, the ambulance nudges the boardwalk and Bernie's basically gurney starts rolling down this slope. Meanwhile, Larry, Richard and Gwen are sitting on the beach congratulating each other. Like, oh, it's brilliant, well done for this. Obviously one of them foiled the murder and blah, 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 blah. And then we just see, out of shot, Bernie's gurney hit the end of the beach and his body do a kind of roll / belly flop.
It's like a forward roll.
A forward roll. And he just lands right behind them, in between them, but they can't see him. And he's just looking straight down the camera.
Yeah, he's like slumped, but slumped, staring at the camera sideways.
With his glasses. And like sideways. And then out of the shot, the guys are still talking, and they haven't noticed that he's sitting right behind them. And you see this woman, like blonde woman, like young blonde woman as usual, waving down. Hey, Bernie, see you at the party tonight. And they just, all 3 of them just turn around, and they're like, what? And they turn around, and Bernie's just sitting there looking at them. Like that, and they freak out and run off. Yeah.
And then the credits roll.
And it's, some like it hot, some like it cold.
Oh, what an end. I absolutely loved it. I was laughing so much.
Me too. It's impossible not to see that end scene without laughing.
Oh, God, yeah.
Impossible.
Yeah, easily. I'm going to give you, there's only a few bits of trivia for this, but I'm going to give you some Weekend at Bernie's trivia.
Okay.
So Terry Kaiser's stunt double suffered a few broken ribs during filming, most in the scene in which Bernie is dragged around the surface of the ocean, bumping into metal floating obstacles.
Wait.
So, no, I don't know, because I thought that there's no way in hell that was always a real guy, because some of that was super violent when he's getting thrown around the back. But I think some of it probably was like a real person, like for close-up stuff. But when he's just like flopping about in the back and his legs are going in all directions, there's no way that's a real person.
No. Oh my God, the stunt double must have done some serious thing. I mean, even Richard has a scene where he gets blinded by so much slapstick. He gets blinded by a lighthouse and falls down a trap door and rolls down the stairs.
Yeah.
And you see like a stunt double clearly, like replacing Andrew McCarthy.
What's his name?
Jonathan Silverman.
Jonathan Silverman, yeah. So as I said earlier, Ted Kotcheff, the director, made a cameo as Richard's father, which was funny.
Monroe.
This film was considered as a vehicle for Corey Haim and Corey Feldman early in production before it was decided to make the leads older. which
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
They needed to be older. They needed to be
Yeah.
the age they were playing.
Yeah. I liked. Was it License to Drive? That's a good movie with them too.
Oh, I've not seen that.
Yeah.
Bernie's house was actually a set built in the south end of Fort Fisher Natural Recreation Area. It was demolished at the end of the movie.
No, they built that house.
They built it, yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was cool, wasn't it? It was like the most 80s/90s house you'll ever see in your life.
I'd love to live somewhere like that, in that house.
Yeah.
That's kind of my dream, I think, living in Bernie's house or
But-
Gordon Gekko's beach house in the Hamptons. One of the other.
Well, yeah, that's quite nice too, yeah.
Or doesn't Rocky Balboa have a beach house as well out there?
Oh, does he?
Happy birthday, Polly.
Apparently, this was inspired by a very low budget 1983 Hindi movie called Jan B. Duyaru.
At Bernie's.
At the,
Jan B. Yarrow at Bernie's.
at Bernie's, yeah. So apparently, it was inspired by that. So they obviously just ripped that off. And despite the film's title, this is like nerd alert. Despite the film's title implying an entire weekend at Bernie's, the movie depicts the characters arriving on the island,
Friday,
home of Bernie's
Saturday.
beach house, at 6:30 p.m. on Friday, and the movie ends around late afternoon, early evening on Saturday.
Yeah. Because he says at the end of it, he says, I hear the Saturday parties. I'm going to stick around because I hear the Saturday parties are even better than the Fridays.
Yeah. So you don't even see Sunday.
It's
That weekend at
Friday and
Bernie's.
Saturday at Bernie's.
Yeah, Friday
24 hours-
Friday
24
afternoon
hours at
slash
Bernie's.
evening. Yeah, Friday afternoon slash evening to Saturday afternoon at Bernie's.
And that would be interesting for the sequel because it's Weekend at Bernie's too, but it's not actually at Bernie's, is it?
No, it's in a different country. Weekend at Bernie's Courtside. Oh God, I don't want to see it, or do I? I don't know.
Yeah, you do. I want to see it
But
again.
I thoroughly enjoyed watching that today.
Me too.
Yeah.
This is what happens, man. Like we go from Super Mario Brothers to Weekend at Bernie's, and it just all comes back. It's perfect summer movie. This is, I think, it's better I think than Summer Rental, like all those kind of, you know, the vacation, European Vacation, all those kind of summery movies. For me, I think Summer. I think Bernie getting dragged behind a speedboat and everyone hitting all of the boys in the bay and everyone screaming at him, I'll see you at the party later.
Yeah. I also love the fact, just another side, that all the golf buggies on the island that everyone goes around on were normal ones, apart from Bernie's, which was a red Porsche golf buggy.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he?
That you, Lomax, you little bastard.
What a movie.
So, Weekend at Bernie's, massive recommendation as a video store.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Yes.
me too, man. Go watch Weekend at Bernie's, guys. Don't critique it. Just watch it. It's a lot of fun. It's really silly. It's
enjoy
very
it.
80s. Just enjoy it and bump some iron, dude. All right. So, that was it. How do you feel about that, Phil?
I feel great.
I'm
Thanks.
so excited. Join us on the next episode of the Movie Mouth Film and TV podcast, where we will be watching more content. I'm hopefully going to watch The Green Knight, which is something I've been really looking forward to. New Dev Patel movie, and I'm sure there'll be some other things that we'll be watching. But until then, please do give us a 5-star review on your podcast player of choice. Please hit subscribe if you're a first-time listener. And do subscribe as well to our social media channels at Movie Mouth Podcast on Instagram and on Facebook. And until we see you next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Phil, there's just one last thing to say, isn't there?
Yes.
Go on then. Oh, why? I'm always asking you to say it and you never say it. Just say it.
No, I like it when you say it. You say it.
Should I?
Yeah. No, I'll say it. Bye.
Oh, bye. No, I wanted to do it.